Okay, welcome to this episode of Soulversations with Mka Morris. My lovely guest today is my cousin, Marlo Hager. Hi, Marlo.
Hi, world. Hi, Tamika. So excited to be on your podcast today.
Oh, I am so excited to have you. So, we had a little conversation yesterday, a little pre-conversation. I try not to talk too much to my guests beforehand because we like to leave it all for the platform.
Right.
But I love that you text me back the title of what today's conversation is going to be. So let's just start with that. The power within me. So apparently, y'all, my girl got a book. And if when you hear this story, you will see why she has a book deep down inside of her. And I know after this, and not because of this, but because of her story, she will sit down and write that story for us. So welcome, babe.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm saying welcome, but thank you for having me. I'm so excited to tell my story.
Yes. And a story it is. Okay,
Yes.
let's just do a little brief background. You're from PG County, Maryland. At this
Yeah.
point, you was raised in DC. But can you give our viewers who don't know you a little short bio?
Um, my name is Marlo, of course. Like Tamika said, I'm from DC. I had suffered with heart problems and other things that I like to discuss today. I'm a go getter as far as getting what I want done and taking care of my family. That's most important to me. And
So you're a mother.
I didn't even get into any of that. My mom, her name is Iris. That's my angel. She's been living with me now for 30 something years. It's like
Mhm.
we can't part ways. But anyway, my mom is Iris. My father is Gregory. And he just recently had a hip replacement. So I'm praising God for him making it through his hip replacement and giving me plenty of trouble. Um, I have I have one sister um, on my mom's side and two brothers, one which passed away in 2013. I believe it's 2013. Don't quote me
Mhm,
on that,
mhm.
but yes, his name was Gregory Jr. And I have three children, one of which passed away 4 years ago, and he left me with a beautiful grandson, and I currently have two daughters that's still here with me as well. So that's pretty much
It's a pretty deep story that's filled with blessings and loss.
yes, it is.
Blessings and loss. Cancer. You're a cancer survivor.
I am. I In 2010, I was diagnosed with abdominal cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and during that time, um, I was feeling pain 3 weeks prior to um, me seeing a doctor,
Mhm.
and went to work and was discussing it with one of my friends. How my stomach was hurting so bad, and it was like an internal hurt, like deep down. So she suggested that I go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, took off work, went to the doctor, not expecting anything like this to come about. But I went to the doctor. They did a scan of my stomach and everything. And two doctors came in after the scan. Mind you, I'm by myself getting this information. The two doctors came in and they told me that I 99% that they are 99% sure that I have cancer in my shoulder
Mhm.
and down my side and all the way across my abdominal area. I was by myself. So, needless to say, I was scared to death, you
Right.
know. So they sent me for a PET scan. I went for the PET scan, and of course, everything was positive. I had a bone marrow work, a procedure, so that they can pull the bone marrow to, clear that it was cancer, and it was stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, which I was told it was moving rapidly.
Had to be aggressive. Whew.
It was, and literally upon me having um that visit with the doctor, they told me that I needed to have chemo immediately. So I did that. I think that was like on a Thursday when I
Mhm.
discovered it. Tuesday, I was in there being injected with medication for
For chemo.
for the cancer. Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Let's pause right there. Take a breather. You're doing good. Okay. So how old are you at this time, Marlo, when you get this diagnosis?
I was 45.
Okay. So at 45, you're going through life is popping, you're at work, you're like a typical Black mother and woman, have pain, push through the pain, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Luckily, you had that outlet where you told a friend and you actually listened to the friend's advice and went to get. And that's important. I wish that when people hear this podcast, that they
Mhm.
understand, listen to your body.
Yes.
Just listen to your body. It's telling you stuff long
Yes.
before a doctor will ever give you the diagnosis.
Hmm.
And we will not sit and listen to our bodies, you know? And
Hmm.
so because you did listen to a friend who said, go to the doctor, and then you get this diagnosis, which you were so like, you felt probably like, really, body, that's what we doing today?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
and at no point did it ever cross your mind that it could be something life threatening, right?
Nothing. I never even imagined having to go through that. Never. I was so healthy. I actually was raising my niece as well as my 3 kids
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just hit me out of nowhere. So
So
it
when you
was.
got the diagnosis and you just was like,
Hmm.
what was your immediate reaction?
My immediate reaction was praising God, asking Him to see me through this. I can make
Yes,
it through this. That
yes,
was mindset immediately. I'm like,
good.
I have to live. I have to be here. I have to be here for my children. My children need me. That's the only thing that
It kept you.
I always held on to, is that I can't go nowhere. I don't have nobody to take care of my babies the way I would
Mm-hmm.
take care of them. So
Mm-hmm.
from that moment forward, I was like, okay, give me what you got. If I gotta take
Yes.
chemo, let me have it.
Okay.
So yeah, it was life challenge. It was a challenging situation, but like I said, I made it through. You know,
So you went through the chemo, you made it through, you made it to the other side. And then shortly thereafter,
hmm.
what happened?
I say
And we
maybe.
wish it would have stopped right there at cancer. Okay. That's what we're
Hey,
gonna say.
me too. Oh well, after the cancer, I'd say it was probably a year and a half
Mm-hmm.
later, or maybe a year later.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that I had um, congestive heart failure. And I was like, okay, what is this? So I'm looking up, congestive heart failure, and the doctor's telling me that my left ventricle is not pumping enough blood to my body, and that it's definitely on the verge, you know, of giving up, that I needed some assistance with that. I may need assistance with that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me do whatever you need me to do. And at that time, as time went on, mind you, that was in, what year was that? I can't remember the exact
Okay.
year,
You're
but
like me. We don't hold on to numbers. We just keep living.
nope. And after a while, my numbers had gotten so low that they told me that I would need an LVAD, which stands for left ventricular assist. assist device.
Mm-hmm.
That's the the
The
the
little
proper way to
monitor.
say it.
Yes.
Yeah. This machine I had to carry on my body
Mm-hmm.
for 24 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
7 days a week. It was a bag that weighed 6 to 8 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It would go across my shoulder and come out. Had a string. I'm saying it wrong. It's not a string. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember the terminology that they
Mm-hmm.
use for it, but it entered my stomach and attached to my heart. My left. I'm sorry. I get so shaken up
Mm-hmm.
when I talk about this, but bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it went through my stomach and connected to my heart. This actually kept me alive. I had to carry 2 batteries in this pack, which I had a machine to load the batteries on and to switch them out. As whenever the sound beeps, I know I need to
Kind
change
of
my
change.
yes, but I would often try to catch it just
Mm-hmm.
before it beeps because that sound just drives you crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's
It's
like an
such
alarm. It's like,
it,
hey.
it definitely that's what it is. It's an alarm. Like you need to get this change within the next 10 minutes or else
Mm.
my heart would completely stop. Okay, so I
Okay. Can you
mhm,
pause right there?
mhm,
I want you to tell our listeners how the chemo affected your body and now it
mhm,
turned into the
mhm.
congestive heart failure. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The
So a
chemo
healthy person who winds up with stage 3 cancer, who gets through the stage 3 cancer, now has a faulty heart.
mhm, exactly.
Now you have to carry a bag around 24 hours a day
Yeah.
until.
Until until I received a heart transplant.
Mm,
Um, the chemotherapy, first of all, the chemotherapy was exhausting. I was
mhm,
so tired, every day. I had to take off work and I was off work for maybe six months, I think.
mhm,
And yeah, I went for the first after the first 6 sessions of the chemotherapy, and they said that the cancer wasn't clear. So they had to add another 2 rounds of chemotherapy. Mind you, I used to get these the therapy every 21 days.
mhm,
And I would have to go Monday and Tuesday of
mhm,
those 21 days, 21 days later back again. So after the first 6 rounds of it, I was still messed up. So they got me the other 2 and then I was cleared. But
mhm.
it really it
Took a
affected
toll.
yes, it affected me tremendously from my my confidence that I had, you
Mhm,
know, losing all my hair, literally seeing it come out in my hand as I brushed it. That's our pride and joy. you
mhm,
know?
mhm,
And it just floored me. So I just asked someone to cut it, take it off,
mhm,
just bald it until it would grow back, you know.
mhm.
And did that. I did that. And my children were so supportive.
Yes, they were.
My son, my son, he used to be in trouble all the time at school. Literally all the time. So I sat him down and had a conversation with him. And I told him, if you want me here, I need you to straighten up in school. I can't come to the school to sit through classes. I can't do none
Right.
of that. I need you to do what I know you can do. He straightened up. Not one problem. As a matter of fact, he became an honor roll student.
Yes.
It's crazy because I'm so used to him coming home with these messed up grades, and I'm like, oh, you could have did it all the time.
Mhm,
I knew you could do this. You
mhm.
know, so yeah, he straightened up, and so that was heart
He
feeling
didn't
for
want to
me.
be a burden.
He did,
He didn't want to be
he
a
did.
burden.
None of them did. But one thing I must say, I have an older daughter, Raven.
Mhm,
She is such an amazing person. It's like I can't even describe to you how good she is with her mom. You know, with helping me at
You
my
ain't
time.
got to tell me. I know, but the listeners need to know that that baby girl, honey.
She is a blessing to
Yes.
mom. Yes, she is. My younger daughter, she's a little stubborn. You know, she was in her
Mhm.
early teenage years, but
She was a baby, and to see her
yeah,
mother go through that, I'm sure that's a
yes,
lot, you know.
yes. She was little at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I'm a little ahead of myself. She wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a teenager at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she was very helpful. You know, I tried to give her information about my condition, but not too much because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want
Because you
her.
want her to still be a kid.
Yes, I'm like, this
Mm-hmm.
isn't your problem. This is mommy's problem, and we're gonna fix this. We're gonna get
Right.
through this. Yeah.
Right. And you
So
persevered.
I did with flying colors. So
Whew.
I so I
Okay. And then the heart.
then the
Excuse me.
then the heart. Okay, the LVAD that I was speaking of,
Mm-hmm.
it I had to get the LVAD first, which was a open heart surgery. They
Mm-hmm.
opened my chest, put the LVAD in, and closed me up. In which the LVAD, with receiving the LVAD, my chest was supposed to stay open so that they can see, you know, how it was functioning overnight. But they closed it instead of leaving it open like they told us, you know, in the interview or whatever consultation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with that being said, I had serious complications
Complications.
when they put the LVAD inside of me. Initially, the first LVAD, we had issues with infection. Um, my LVAD was infected, so my chest, they had to reopen my chest, leave it open to breathe it. That was done for a whole week. My chest was open.
Open.
I was in ICU, and you know, getting that wound flushed and cleaned,
Mm.
you know, for a whole entire week. Um, I went through that. I was in ICU. I made it out okay with the first surgery. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, this isn't the first, this is the second time
Mm-hmm.
they opened me. Okay, that LVAD failed me. It malfunctioned. It needed to be replaced with a more updated LVAD.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced this LVAD. With this LVAD, as you know, it malfunctioned. It shut off in the middle of the night, meaning my heart had stopped. It wasn't. I started feeling dizzy immediately, and if
Mm.
it wasn't for my oldest daughter to remind me, take take my machine, my LVAD, and
Mm-hmm.
disconnect it from the machine that I had to sleep on at night to put myself back on batteries so that my heart can start beating again.
Wow.
She was,
She
I don't,
became a whole doctor.
when I tell you this girl was on it, she was on it. Yeah, she was on it. I'm sitting there about to pass out. So I can't even think of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
disconnecting the cables and connecting it to my battery pack or whatever. And immediately I could feel the flush, you
The
know, like
relief.
blood coming
Mm-hmm.
back to my
Mm.
heart. It was crazy. But after that, um, that caused me to have to get the third
Heart.
surgery. Well, it I'm just counting the surgeries here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had the first one and also had to be reopened for the infection. The second one, I mean, that's the second one. The third one was the replacement of the
Whole
entire.
machine.
Yes, they had to
Mm-hmm.
take it all out, debrief me to make sure that, you know,
No
no
infection.
infection was
Mm-hmm.
still breeding inside of me. They sealed me up after a week. Um, and I I think that one was okay
Mm-hmm.
um for a while. Uh but I ended up staying in the hospital. I think it was maybe 2 months during that
Mm-hmm.
time
Mm-hmm.
because the infection kept coming back.
Right.
Even, you know, after they did the
Close you
briefing,
up.
I had to go back
Mm-hmm.
in and have another surgery. Um, okay. And during that time,
Walking
after
miracle.
after I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
After I was released to my room, we
Mm-hmm.
discovered that I had um burns, bed sores
Mm.
on my tail.
From being there for 2 months,
I w- I
not
was
moving.
no, when I was in ICU, they
Right.
weren't turning me every 2 hours
Right. Like they
like
were
they should.
supposed to.
I was sitting and melting into the bed.
Ugh.
Literally, I still have scars right now that are they're second and I think they were second and third degree burns
Mm.
on my buttocks. And I tried to seek an attorney, but because it's a big hospital, nobody wants to go against the hospitals. They're
That's
like,
not right.
you didn't die, you're okay. I also had scars in the
Your
back of my head,
head.
and I still have those scars. It's like a slant all the way down with missing hair. It looks
Mm.
like somebody hit me in the head with something because it was extreme. It was wide open, and at the time I had braids in my hair. I had I think 4 braids,
Mm-hmm.
to keep from having to bother with my hair, not knowing I was going to be sitting in the bed laying
2 hours.
in their hair,
I mean, 2 months.
um, yeah, all the time, and they not move me.
Mm.
So anyway, that was an issue, So I suffered with that. And, I kept complaining to them initially, my head is hurting so bad, and they're like,
Nobody ever thought to check,
"Oh."
like,
they
why?
looked, they looked at it because I had the braids. The doctor was like, I don't see anything, closed it up. So, it was hurting so bad. When I got into rehab, I told my daughter, take the braids out. Let's see what
What's back there?
is there something on my head? What is causing this pain? We took it out. She combed it out.
Hair just came out.
When she combed it out, it was literally this much hair sitting on the table when she finished.
Mm.
She opened it. She said, "Ma, it looked like somebody hit you with a hatchet in your head because of the scar
Mm.
was so open." And
Mm.
they had to send a wound doctor to care for me in the hospital,
For your
and
head.
also, mhm,
Because you got
and
an
also,
infection in your head now. Jesus.
yeah, yeah, no, the head was fine as far as infection. It wasn't infected,
Okay.
but it was just open where I had to. And then they tried to say that they didn't cause it. I'm like, I've been in here for 6 weeks so
Mhm.
far. This is a brand new, a scar.
Right.
Tell me, where did I get it from if I didn't get it from you all? Nothing.
Right.
Yet they couldn't say anything,
Of
you know.
course not. That's a lawsuit.
Hmm. Yeah. So I had this nurse who is one of my good friends now. Her name is Stephanie. And
Mhm.
Stephanie took care of my bed sores, in my
Mhm.
head and made sure I was good for months. She actually was the nurse that would come after literally every time I was hospitalized. They would send her, with the
So
pickle.
sweet. So
Hmm.
sweet.
Yep, with the
And now
antibiotics.
she's a friend. Oh,
She
thank
is.
God for good healthcare workers.
Yes, she's the mom. She is the
Mm.
mom. Yep. And I also didn't mention, I just want to shout out my friend Charlene, that the one that told me to go to the
Go to the
hospital.
hospital.
Yes,
Thank you, Charlene, for saving my cousin's life.
she did. She did.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did you mentally get through all of this part of your life, Marlo?
To be honest, Tamika, my kids were my inspiration. I prayed. I prayed. And once I said that prayer, um, once I said that prayer, initially, I told the Lord, I'm gonna make it through this. You have to help me to get through it. They were my inspiration. You know, I can remember the first surgery and my mom while they were rolling me into the operation room, the first surgery, my mom, everybody was fine. You were there. You were there.
Mhm.
And my mom just broke down. She broke down. It hurt me so bad because we all were so chipper and they're waiting for them to call me
Mhm.
into surgery. We
Mhm.
sitting in there laughing, talking. I'm in there wishing I had food, telling y'all to eat in front of me because I'm hungry. I'm greedy. So all I can think about, I need to eat something, but I'm telling y'all to eat so I can smell the food. But yeah, my mom broke down. My mom and my daughter, they broke down so bad seeing me going there. And I'm like, don't stop crying. I'll be back.
Mhm,
I'll be
mhm.
back, you know. And so I just told them to wheel me away because I didn't want to be
Right. That
scared.
energy. You didn't want to take
Yeah.
that
And
energy in with you.
and I was so good before going
Mhm,
to the surgery room. But when I saw
mhm.
my mom and my daughter break down, it
That's a
just,
lot. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a lot
that's
to take with you in surgery.
it
Um,
was.
did you have any moments while in surgery that you could, like, out of body experiences? Did you feel anything? Did you know the presence of God, or were you
I
just sedated and that was that?
I was sedated, girl. I was sleeping
Okay.
good.
Okay.
With
I
the
know
doc,
those are the best sleeps.
I tell you, I was knocked out. They give you that count to three thing. I'm gonna put this milk in you. So turn it
Mhm.
on. Shoot, before I got the two, I was out. But and I wasn't with all the surgeries that I've been through, I was never afraid. I was never afraid. I
I love
think
that.
the only one that really scared me was eventually I had to have a heart transplant.
Okay.
I stayed in the hospital for, and this was 2 years ago. I stayed in the hospital for 4 months straight until they could find a heart for me. This one day, my doctor comes to my door. It's 12:30 in the morning. So he comes to the door, busting in the door. Miss Hager, I was like, I jumped straight up, sat up in the bed. And I'm like, I know you're not going to tell me what you're going to tell me. I know you're not going to tell me. He was like, we have a heart. We have a heart. And I mean, everything just rushed through my body. I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't sleep.
Mhm. Of
And
course
the
not.
surgery wasn't going to be until 6 o'clock in the morning. Mind you, this is 12:30. So once I got that information, the nurses started coming in,
Getting you
giving me all
prepared.
the stuff to
Mhm.
do, giving me my wash and everything that I needed before I entered the surgery room. Everything just went so fast.
Mm.
And that was the only surgery that scared me because
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, Lord, they're actually taking my heart out and going to put a new heart in, which is somebody who was generous
That's the
and
way.
caring
Mhm.
enough to donate their heart. And because of I'm 6 feet tall,
Right.
because of my stature, I
Mhm.
had to get a man's heart.
Mhm.
So right now, my heart is a dude's heart, but I'm thankful to my donor because without him, I don't know where I would be. I was
Right.
bedridden for a while because every time I would get up, my heart rate would
Oh,
accelerate
what?
so bad. Yeah, and I couldn't get out of bed for a couple of days until they figured out what medication they were going to give me to get my heart, you know, where I can,
Acclimated. Mhm.
yeah,
To your body.
operate around. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'm sorry, that was before the heart.
Okay.
They were
Okay.
giving me this medicine. This is when I still had the LVAD on.
Okay.
But yeah, so going through that and just realizing that somebody gave me, they
Their
left their
heart.
heart for somebody.
That's such
And
a generous gift.
that somebody was me. Such a
Mm.
generous gift. It is
Do you know the donor's family?
actually this last Christmas,
Mhm.
she reached out to um I forgot the name of the company because when I asked about it, they told me I couldn't contact them. There was no way to contact them.
Mhm.
But I found out that there was actually a way to contact them. She actually found me and
Mm.
she sent me this beautiful card explaining that was her son that passed away. He was a truck driver. He loved basketball and he had a 12-year-old daughter, as I said, I think. Um he has a 12-year-old daughter and he was such a good guy. He loved basketball, which was touching to me
Right,
because
because your
my,
son.
my yeah, my son. Mhm.
Girl,
Yeah.
you about to make me cry. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I sent her back a letter,
Mm-hmm.
thanking her, and telling her how amazing her son is to even consider, you know, at
Mm-hmm.
that young age. He was 33.
Mm.
So with that being said, his I think it's I don't know, I may be wrong with the age. It was either 33. I believe it was 33. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's correct. But anyway, thanking her for raising a child like that, to be as, at his young age, to even think about others and saving
And
lives. When
be a
when
donor.
in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't thinking about donating nothing, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
later on in life, I did. But
Mm-hmm.
now, now that I need it, I'm making sure that everybody that can donate their organs, to put it on your license. Go ahead and do it, because you
Right.
never know who's gonna need it, and it saves lives.
Okay. Whew. Okay. Let's get to the hard story. You're a cancer survivor, you're a heart transplant survivor, but in the midst of all of these things, your biggest your biggest survival, your survival of losing your baby boy. Run us
Yeah.
through that day.
Okay. This was
One
actually
and only son.
my one and only son. I have three children, which
Mm-hmm.
is my oldest daughter Raven, my son Anthony, who passed away, and my youngest daughter Ania. Okay. So this particular day, Ania was up. It was 6:45 in the morning. She's about to go get on the school bus. She couldn't find her shoes. So she goes in Anthony's room and looks for her shoes. I don't know why her shoes were in his room, but anyway, her shoes were in his room, and she went in the room to get her shoes. She saw Anthony slouched in the corner of the room on some blankets, just slouched over. And she said she called him. It was like, Anthony, Anthony, what, why you won't get up, Anthony? Whatever. She said at that time his pants were halfway down.
Mm-hmm.
And my son was very particular about exposing himself in any type of way
Mm-hmm.
around us, because he was the only male in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so he wasn't the person to, to expose himself, even in his sleep, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she came running to my room and banged on my door, opened the door, and was like, Mommy, Mommy, get up. Something's wrong with Anthony. And, mind you, at that time I had the LVAC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was 4 years ago. I disconnected my LVAC, and I told her, go to school, he'll be fine, go to school. I disconnected my LVAC and connected it to the batteries, went in his room, only to find him laid in that corner, looking like he was asleep. So, I'm asking, get up, asking, get up. I go over to where he was sitting.
Slouch. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was literally looking like he was asleep. So I went to tap him, and I noticed he was cold. He was cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking to myself, this can't be. I just let him in the house the day before, the night before, at
Mm-hmm.
12 o'clock, um, that night, the night before. He always would lose his keys. So I wouldn't give him another key to the house, because the boy would lose the keys. He would lose the
Anyway.
keys like, I don't even need these, So I stopped giving the keys. I'm like, call me when you here, and I'll open the door for you, So that night, I opened the door for him. He was drinking an Arizona iced tea, and I had just I think it was probably 2 weeks before,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the Nipsey Hussle
Mm-hmm.
event,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting there with my daughter,
Pause right there. When you say event, you're talking about him dying, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, he passed, I think, 2 weeks before. The
Mm-hmm.
night that Anthony came in the house, my oldest daughter, Raven, and I, we were sitting there and we were looking at the um the ceremony
Mm.
for his death, and his mom was speaking that same
Mm-hmm.
night, the night
Mm-hmm.
before, August 14th. Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but she was speaking on the 13th.
So it was the
So
funeral, his funeral.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So she's speaking at that funeral, and I'm sitting there that night. Whole time, I just kept getting this crazy feeling. I'm a person usually can feel when something bad
Off.
is going to happen. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
who it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be, but I can usually have, you know, a sensation of knowing something's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. This
Mm-hmm.
particular day, while I was watching that show, Tamika, I had tears constantly rolling down my eyes. I wasn't upset looking at it. I was
Mm-hmm.
touched, but I'm like, geez, why do I keep, why do my eyes keep
Crying.
watering like this?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling my daughter at the same time, you know, I don't know how any mother could go through that. I don't know how, I don't know if I could make it without one of y'all. I'm telling her this that same night,
Mm.
telling her, I don't know if I can make, my kids are my life. Everybody knows that
Mm-hmm.
about me. My kids
Mm-hmm.
are everything to me, you know. Um, so finding him, you know, in that position,
Cold.
cold, I ran out that room and banged on my
Right.
daughter's
Door.
room door and screamed to her, call 911. Something's wrong with
Mm.
Anthony. As I was alerting her, I ran to my mom's room. My
Mm-hmm.
mom was already on her way out the door because she heard all the ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
So she's coming out the door as I speak to Raven, and I said, Mom, I think Anthony is deceased.
Mm.
I said, Mom, I touched him. He's cold. He's solid. And she was like, no, no, he not. You know, she ran in the
Mm-hmm.
room and she's touching him all the same. And we're, you know,
Wake
trying to
him
help
up.
him up. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this can't be. I just saw him. I just saw him 6 hours ago. This can't be. So the ambulance gets there, and they told me that he had been deceased for more than 2 hours. Rigor mortis had already set in,
But in.
because I'm looking at them like, resuscitate him. Why y'all not,
Right.
you know, doing
Right.
something
Bring him
to,
back.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and before that, the operator on the phone was telling me to lay him flat on the ground, on the
Mm-hmm.
floor,
Mm-hmm.
and give him chest compressions or whatever. And I was telling her, I said, he's cold. I said, my son was 6 feet 9 inches.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't move him. He was like a rock. And mind you, my
Your
chest was
heart. Right.
already hurting. My daughter, the oldest one, she went outside to meet the ambulance. When the ambulance was coming, my younger daughter, who's at the bus stop, comes running back up the hill to the house because she realized that something happened to my brother. Why they called the
Right.
ambulance? So
Right.
she came in there and had to tell her that her only and oldest brother is now deceased.
Mm.
So we went through a lot. We went through a lot trying to get past that situation. And when I tell you, you know, but when I tell you, I never thought that I would bury my son
Mm-hmm.
before them burying me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we got through that part, you know, and one of my cousins, before I was ready to disclose that this had happened to him, he posted it on Instagram. So everybody on this in the city was ringing his phone, ringing my phone, people showing up at the door. They
Mm.
didn't even move my son from my home until later that day. He was there
For
alone
hours. Mm,
hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I think he was literally it was 6:45 when we found him,
mhm,
and they pronounced him deceased on his record at 7. When they got there to say
mhm,
that he was deceased or whatever. They didn't move him probably until like 2 o'clock that evening.
mm.
So he's still in his room, you know, waiting for the people to
Medical
come.
examiner. Mhm,
Yes, waiting for them to come and pick him up. You know,
mm.
and I had people just coming
Come
to the
into your
house.
house.
Yeah, and I couldn't even absorb what was going. I couldn't even
Right.
absorb what was happening. Mind you, that he had a baby on the way when he passed. My grandson. He passed away when his mom was 5 months, four
Mhm,
4 months,
mhm.
and his birthday. My grandson's birthday is August 9th, which is next Wednesday, and my son's birthday is August 14th.
Mm.
So, and mind you, I should have had a picture of them so you can see exactly, so the people could see he's identical, literally from his height
Yes.
to his mouth
Literally.
to
Literally.
his lips, everything, even some of the stuff that he does, he stands exactly like my son. He stands, and and looking at him, he is my inspiration. He is, oh my God, when I tell you I love that baby.
Mm.
He's a handful, but I love him so much. And I
He
said the
he's
Lord,
life. He's life. He's the circle of life. He
mm,
represents like spirit never dies. Like, whoo,
for me,
look at that.
I got chills literally talking about my grandson. That's my
Mm,
heart. He's my only grandson. And it just so happened to be the Lord saw fit to leave me a part of Anthony,
mm-hmm.
which I'm so grateful for.
In
Because
his image and his likeness and his
mm,
yeah.
when I tell you, it's amazing. I'm like,
Mm,
that's reincarnation of my son,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
literally. Yep. So,
Okay. And knowing and going through that, meanwhile, you're still dealing with the LVAT. You don't even
yeah,
have your new heart yet.
I'm still with the LVAT.
I'm gonna say this from a person who's gone through a few storms. Okay,
Hmm.
me and our story mirrors each other so much. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Um, did you ever once say, "God, really this too?" Like,
Tamika, when I tell you, I was like, I know I shouldn't be questioning God. I know that for a fact. I shouldn't
hmm
be questioning God. But that time,
hmm
I was like, why? Why me?
hmm hmm
I was like, my baby's been here for 24 years. It wasn't enough to me, and it
mm,
wasn't like it was something where he was sick. This boy, he was healthy and fine. They took an autopsy. No, I'm sorry. I had an autopsy done because
hmm
he passed away in the house, so that's mandatory.
hmm
They did the autopsy, and I found out that my baby passed away from oxycodone, overdose of oxycodone.
mm,
I wasn't, well, I had an issue with him one time prior to that
hmm
with the oxycodone. I was told that, he had to go to the hospital
hmm
because, he was reacting to the oxycodone. So the
hmm
girl that he was with had the ambulance to come and get him. They took him to the hospital that time. So when he got home, that time, I talked to him, I was like, this is not for you. I've
hmm
been through close relatives, almost my entire family has used drugs.
hmm
And I I vowed to myself as a teenager that I wasn't going to put my children through that. When I have kids, I'm not going to put my children through that. Through
Right.
me. They'll never see me high off drugs or, you know, entertaining with or socializing with people who use drugs. that was my promise, I made
To your
as
children.
as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found out that my baby, my only son, passed away from oxycodone, I was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this can't be right. This can't be right. We had the conversation. He told me that it was over. He would never touch it again. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
trusting my baby. He not gonna
Mm-hmm.
lie to me. He not gonna tell me that I'm not gonna do something and do it anyway, and then
Mm-hmm.
do it to this magnitude. And what happened was he he stopped using it, and I think that particular time when he went back to use it, he was supposed to work. He used to come home and complain about his body hurting all the time. And I'm not making an excuse for why he
Mm-hmm.
used it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm only assuming.
You're linking it to that.
Yeah,
That
I'm
this is,
only.
yeah.
Mhm. Because every day he would go to work at 7:30 and he would get home about 7:30. So
Mm-hmm.
he's on his feet walking this
Mm-hmm.
whole time. He would finish his route every day about 3 o'clock. So his supervisors, because he was so fast, he was so long, had them daggone long legs. He jumping fences and everything delivering mail. So they would have him to help other carriers out because he's finished and he still got the day to go. So he would do that and he would help him. Normally he wouldn't every day he would get home from 7. He would work from 7 to 7. And he worked 6 days a week. He was only off on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come home and complain about how sore his body was from walking, his neck, everything. As soon as he walked in the door, he would sit on a couch just to
He was
get
tired.
gather
Mm-hmm.
himself, and I'm fussing, get off the couch, you all sweaty, I'm like, get off the
and he's
couch.
and he's 6'9". So like
Hmm. Yep.
he probably was hurting. He had to
Yeah.
duck and
Not
maneuver and
not to mention he had Marfan's disease, which is a disease, for people with long limbs and everything.
mm,
So he had that, in which his heart was a little bigger than it was supposed to be.
okay,
So
for
I
his
think,
body.
yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and with him doing the drug or whatever, it just didn't match. It
Mm,
didn't it didn't match. We got the autopsy, and that's what they told me. So I had to live with that. And then I'm also thinking to myself, is it anything that I could have done? I I I always am thinking, why did I go to bed so early that night? I went to bed at
mm,
11:30. Normally, I'm in the living room looking at TV until 2 in the morning, and the living room was right near his room. So he'd be like,
mm-hmm,
Mom, go to bed, go to bed.
mm.
But this
Trying to take
particular
care of
day,
you.
yes, this particular day, I stayed up. I stayed up until 12:30 and then went in my room. So,
Mm,
so there's always that thought of, what if I was awake? Would I have
mm-hmm,
heard something?
mm-hmm,
Would I heard him falling onto those blankets because he had to hit the wall to fall because he was so close in the corner? I was always thinking of what could I've done. But now that I know better, and that I think differently, it wouldn't have mattered. That was his time. He served his purpose on this earth.
he
And when
did.
I tell you my son was a good guy,
Yes,
he
he
pulled
was.
2 people from burning cars that he didn't know. It was a grandmother who actually passed away um, in a car crash on, I think it was Easter.
Mm-hmm,
She passed away in a car crash. Her grandson was in the car. The car was flaming. My son got in the car and got the little boy out, got the little boy out of
mm,
the car. And then there was another accident on Silver Hill Road here in PG County, and a man had crashed. He pulled him from a burning car as well. His dream was to be a firefighter. That's
mm.
what he wanted to do. So he didn't get to live out his dream, but he definitely saved lives while he was here.
As a firefighter, because he did it through fire. Praise God. Look.
Yep.
um, the interesting backstory is that Anthony father had passed away while you were pregnant.
No, yeah, he was born. I
Okay, he
passed.
was born. Okay.
He
So
passed.
he didn't grow up with his father, and now his son doesn't get to grow up with his father, but literally, little when we found out that Anthony had passed and that his baby was being born, I just was like, wow,
Yeah.
if you keep living, God will just continuously just show you some things that will just blow your mind.
Yes. Yes. I'm so. All
And
I
just
can.
the fact that when you, okay, so we will link your Instagram and Facebook page after this, and I'm sure you'll have pictures of Anthony and your grandbaby, Sage, so that people can see like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, when my son passed away, and then everybody was so excited that Brichet was having a boy, and Isaiah's whole face is right there.
When I say entirely, his entire face is Isaiah.
It's
Your grandfather,
yeah.
his entire face is his uncle's.
So I want to say this, that to see you struggle with that and to know that you needed a heart, I just was like, God, just keep her so that she can get her heart. Because it's nothing like the loss of a child. It's heartbreaking. It's
Yes.
you lose your heart. Like I never experienced heartbreak before in my life until my son passed away. And to know that that was going to be part of your journey, because that was part of my journey. And I knew like, wow, she needs a heart though, God, you know? So my prayer for you was always, God, keep her heart peaceful, give her what she needs to continue her journey. She's still got life to live, you know?
Yeah.
But I knew that you would feel the tremendous break of your heart in
Mm-hmm.
losing your son. Um, how did you get through those hard nights, Marlo? The
Well,
silence, because it becomes silent
mm-hmm.
in a crowded
It does.
home. It becomes so silent
It
when
does.
you have to experience loss of a child. It's like I don't care who's around, you feel like it's
Yes.
quiet.
And Anthony was the
The
clown of the
life of the party.
clown. He gonna make, if he ain't gonna do nothing else, he gonna make you laugh.
Yes, he is.
Anyway, after his funeral service, my oldest daughter, in which who's she's I think 4.5 years, 4 years apart from Anthony. So they were very, very close. It was them for a long time. My oldest daughter and my youngest daughter are 9 years apart, I think.
Mhm,
And so it was her and Anthony for a long time. And um living in the home that where he passed away, it was
was
too
hard.
much. It was too
Mhm,
much. My daughter wouldn't she would come home from work and she
mhm,
would go straight to her room. She
mhm,
Not her room, my room actually. She
mhm,
would get in my bed and she would sit in the bed all day long. She wouldn't come out in the living room. When she came out, she was going straight out the door to go to work. She
mhm,
wasn't eating or anything. So we had to, she asked me, Mommy, do you do you think we can move from here?
mhm,
This is like immediately after his service. She's asking me that. And I'm like, move? You know how much it costs, to move? And I'm like, you don't think you could stay here? Me thinking that my
You need to
youngest
stay
daughter,
close to him.
that's what I'm thinking. This is the
Mhm,
last place that I saw my baby.
mhm.
So it was a thing where I'm like,
You
I
didn't
don't
want
want
to
to go to
move.
this
Mhm,
place. But
mhm,
because my daughter was impacted so badly, the
mhm,
oldest one and the youngest one, I had to, well, we all had to go through therapy
mhm,
for his loss. Actually, I still do
mhm,
talk to somebody because I'm still not over it. This
mhm,
this 4 years and it seems like yesterday to me.
mhm,
Um, So she asked if we could move, and I was like, yeah, if you feel that you can't stay here. And my youngest daughter, she was against it too. She didn't want to look to move, and which surprised me because I'm like, she's the one that found him, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
she said she didn't want. She was like, "Mommy, I don't want to go or whatever." And so I talked to her, and explained to her that your sister's having, severe. This is severe trauma for her,
Right,
and
right.
maybe it'll be best if we all have a new, you know, a, a,
Beginning.
a
Mm-hmm.
new space, without so many memories. I said every time we walk past this door, we gonna think of him,
Mm-hmm.
and I said maybe this will give our minds a little peace, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we did. We moved 2 weeks after the service, and
I did the
Raven,
same thing. I
you
couldn't
did,
stay. Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
too much,
couldn't stay.
too much, and
Mm-hmm.
I would stay out of the house as long as I could. I would go over anybody's house just to sit and be out of my space. Not realizing myself at the time, I needed to leave
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not even standing here. I'm going, I'm calling Raven, or I'm calling her, or she's calling me. Like, Mom, where you at? Because she wanted to come wherever I was. She wasn't staying in my house.
Right,
My
right.
daughter, the oldest one, slept with me for 6 months straight.
Wow.
Even in the new space, she slept with me 6 months straight because she just felt that she needed my comfort. And she's still
Mm-hmm.
like that. If something bothers her, she'll get in my bed in a minute. And mind you, she's 33.
Yeah, I have an undeniable bond.
Oh my gosh, when I tell you undeniable, that girl, that's my little, even though the younger one looks more like me, I think the oldest one is definitely my shadow. The younger
Mm-hmm.
one, she's like, Ania, she's like, I see you, Mom. You be all right. And going through everything, she's like, you'll be all right. But yeah, they both suffered tremendously. We all did, and
Mm-hmm.
still are.
It was too tragic. It was too sudden. It was too many things. And like
Yes,
you said, his light was so bright.
yes.
And to have to, what would you say to anyone who is dealing with substance abuse from their kids? Like fentanyl, we know that opioids are the rave. Like, what is your message now? Because that's part of you now, you know.
hmm I would tell anybody, it's not worth it. It's
Mm-mm.
not worth it. You have families
Mm-hmm.
who are left
Mm-hmm.
with the pieces
Picking
to
up the
try to
pieces.
put the
Yes.
pieces together to
Yes.
continue to live because my heart was literally in pieces. You
Mm.
know, first of all, it don't work. I'm sitting here with a bag to keep it going. You know, my damn heart not working. Now my emotional heart is not working. So,
Right.
I had to, you know, talk myself through this. I'm like, okay, first of all, I gotta be strong for my babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I gotta realize that, my strength is everything to them. But
Mm-hmm.
back on the subject of people using drugs, I would tell them it's not worth it. Stay away from drugs. You know, it affects all of us, whether
Yes,
you
it
think
does.
whether you think it does or not. Believe me, somebody in your family, friends, or somewhere cares. You know,
Mm.
and it's not worth it. Say no to drugs. Period.
Mm.
And I I did a video on my YouTube page, in which I'll share later, of
Okay.
course. There's a video on there. I think it was 2 years ago on
Mm-mm.
his birthday. I put a video on there sharing how I felt about oxycodone and warning people not to use it. He has so many friends that I know for sure that used it, you know.
Mm.
And Anthony was like one of those friends that don't go away. Once you know him, you know him. He was the life of the party. So
Mhm.
everybody, you know,
Was
looked
impacted.
at him. Everybody
Mhm.
wanted to be his friend,
Mhm.
And with me telling them that my son was 6'9", big guy, weighing what was he wearing? 240, I think, when
Mm-hmm.
he passed away, or
Mm-hmm.
225, 240, I think. Um, but anyway, he was a big guy, So I'm like, if these little pills can take this boy away,
Trust me.
imagine what it can do to you, because most of y'all are
A
way little
small.
than him, you know.
Right.
So, I just try to warn people to stay away from drugs. Just say no. And you have so many of them right now using fentanyl,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
lacing it, however they do. I don't know how they do it, but anyway, lacing drugs and getting high off of this stuff. It's killing our people. It's killing us.
Mm-hmm.
It's killing other races too, not to
Mm-hmm.
mention,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just speaking on my
Which you
area.
know to be true.
Yes.
I
Yes.
want to thank you for telling that part of his story. I want to thank you for ringing the alarm that, drugs took your baby's life, just the choice of saying yes to the drug. You don't even know what you're really saying yes to ultimately.
Exactly.
So thank you for coming on my platform to share that, but also, warning others. I hope that anyone who's listening to this can, understand that their life does matter. Because, kids, they're using drugs for a whole lot of different reasons. Some of them just
Mhm.
using it to party, not knowing that that could be your last hit.
Uh-huh.
Um, some of them are using it to take some of their ills away, but look, the problem's going to still be there. So,
Mhm.
the best thing you could do is just deal with your issues, go talk
Exactly.
to someone. Someone wants to hear you
Mhm.
out,
Ex-
find a safe space. Um, where does your strength come from, Marlo? I know you said your kids, but
My
how do you
strength.
care for yourself? How do you care for yourself in all these things?
Well, through all the journeys of, that I've been through with all the heart surgeries, with the cancer, with my son, it gave me a whole new light, like, as far as
Perspective.
I would, yeah, I've always been protected,
Mm.
of my children, always and always will be. But it gave me a new light on, um, living my life. You know, I've been through hell and back.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here like ain't nothing ever happened to me. If you didn't see these scars, you wouldn't even know that I've been through anything, you know. So my strength comes from the Lord. I pray
Yes.
and I ask him to see me through, through whatever I'm going through. That's the first thing I'm gonna do is pray and ask him to help me get over this. Help me,
Mhm.
guide me the right way,
Mm.
and I just live my life as I want to now. You know, I'm not I'm not caring for other people as much
More
as
than
I used,
yourself.
because before, Tamika, I was taking care of everybody, doing
Mm-hmm.
what I could for everybody, taking in kids, doing whatever I had to do to help my family, to help,
Mm-hmm.
to help everybody, but I wasn't helping myself,
Right.
not even knowing that, I'm going
If you're
through.
not here to help yourself, you can't really help anybody else.
Exactly.
That's that mask on when you get on a plane. And we forget
Hmm.
that they tell you to put your mask on first.
First. Hmm. Yep.
So
Exactly.
so you've experienced self-love in a beautiful
Exactly.
way.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I did.
You look so good. You
Thank
look
you.
so good. So I can see it shining through you.
Yes.
Why was it important for you to share your story today?
It was important to me because I wanted to let people know, the people that are going through struggles with cancer, let
Mm-hmm.
them know, be strong. Always know that it's going to be okay. You know, fight. Don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Fight until
Mm-hmm.
your last fight. Just keep going. Don't even think that you're going anywhere. You know,
Mm.
even if the odds are against you, still have faith and know that you're going to be okay. And the ones who didn't make it, they had done all that they needed to do on this earth, and it was just their time, unfortunately. Um, People that are going through heart disease, don't give up.
Mm.
That heart is going to come. That
Yes,
heart's going
Lord.
to come. You know, just live your life as you were before. You may be a little slower, a lot
Mm-hmm.
winded, you know, have to do things in a different manner, but
Mm-hmm.
don't let it stop you. I didn't let it stop me. I was still on the plane with the LVAD on my face,
Yes, you were.
rolling, going to California from PG County. I ain't care. This ain't gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep living. You
With
know,
a
so that's
smile on your face as big as,
huh,
yes.
like ain't nothing wrong. What bag?
The bag was a part of your accessory.
That definitely was, as ugly as it was. It was a part of my accessory.
Oh my God.
But yeah, just think that, just know that you can make it, and don't stop living. I will not stop living until I can't live no more.
I love that you never lost your sense of humor through all of
Oh,
it. You
no,
always had a smile. And
always.
I mean, listen, to watch your journey really play out. Like I've seen you on your sick bed. I've seen you, with that LV pack here in California and other places. Like you show up. Like, where we going?
I'm gonna be there no matter what
Um,
the circumstances. I'm coming.
yes.
But yeah,
Um, how
yeah,
was it? Okay. I'm your younger cousin and
hmm
just by a few years. So
yeah,
I've always admired your tenacity, your strength. You was like, I remember I wanted to go to Eastern High School because you went to Eastern High School and you was like a majorette. You worked, you always worked. I
yeah.
always worked. I just kind of followed your path in a way. And, I admired you from afar. Um, but how was it through your journey to be so independent
I
and
had to.
always work? And then to one day you can't work. How was
Mhm.
that?
I had to be. I had to be strong for my family. I'm a family oriented person. My family is my life. So I'm always trying to make sure everybody's okay. Making
Mm-hmm.
sure that first of all the kids are taken care of. You
Mm-hmm.
know, making sure the people that are struggling with drugs, even when I was younger, I tried to help them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to help a family member who was close and dear to my heart with her children.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always make sure that they were okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know, family to me is everything. And yeah, just had to keep pushing and keep believing that I'm gonna be okay.
I want to
Um,
talk about I want to talk about the arts that's behind you on the wall.
yes.
So you I thought you picked up the talent because you were at home more. And
Mm-mm.
you was like, no, I just picked it back up. So
I
let's
did.
talk about that because they're
Um,
beautiful pieces.
Thank you. Yeah, I started painting before I got sick, and I stopped, for a couple, maybe a year or two, I think. Once the LVAD was placed, I, would wrap it up and get back to my painting. So, yeah, I love art. That's one of the things that I've always loved, but I never knew that,
Mhm.
I
You
had
could
that talent
create.
in me to
Mhm.
try to create and, do all these different things and stuff. And it's a thing that I still right now need to get back into. We've moved into a bigger space, so I just haven't pulled out my stuff yet. But
Okay.
I think I've done one painting since we've been here. But yeah, I need to get back to that because it it takes me out of, I'm in my own world when I'm painting.
Mhm.
I forget to eat. I forget to drink. I mean, I literally be
Wow.
sitting there for hours, like I'm at work somewhere, painting. You know,
Wow. It's your really creative, God-given talent.
yeah,
Wow.
it is that I never knew. I wish I'd have known that when I was younger.
It,
you
it's your
know,
escapism.
yeah, it is definitely, definitely.
Wow.
Yep.
What does your future look like, girl?
Right now, as far as I'm concerned, my future is bright as hell. I got a new man. He's in a whole different country. But
Okay.
you ain't even know about that one.
Did
But
not. We're gonna have to have a sidebar conversation.
exactly. But he'll be coming to see me soon, or either I'm going there to see him soon. So I'm excited
Okay.
about that. But I'm not letting anything stop me. I'm living my life. Um, I'm living my life to the fullest. And I'm just living right now. I don't worry about when I tell you I don't worry about nothing. My daughter be like, "Mom, you don't care about nothing." I'm like, I worried enough in my life. I'm over worrying. I'm gonna do
I
me. I don't care who
love
don't like it,
that. I
but I'm
love
living for
it.
me. I'm living for me, Tamika. Just took my first trip to we just came off of a vacation to the Bahamas, a cruise, and
Mhm.
I hadn't been in water for the
Years.
past, yeah, I think it's been like 8 years since I've been able to
Wow.
submerge myself in water. So
Right.
I went to the beach, girl. I was all out in the ocean, trying to trying to backhand swim,
Uh-uh.
trying to get on the raft, falling all off in the water. So I'm living. I'm living. Loving it.
I love that for you.
Yep.
Um, my last question, we can wrap up. What advice would you give to anyone else going through any type of hardship?
Hmm. I would tell them keep the faith and know that it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Pray about it and leave it alone. Leave it in the Lord's hand. Whatever you're going through, leave it in His hands. He'll make a way out of no way. When I tell you He will, He will. And I truly
Mm,
believe that that's my only that's the first person I go to,
mm.
the Lord. Always. Always. Yep.
Thank you so much
You
for your
too.
yes. Thank you for sharing your amazing story of triumph, victory. Like you just, girl, you're a whole walking freaking, yeah,
Test.
yes,
Yes.
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 Um, and I know that God is still not done. He still has so much
Oh,
more for you.
definitely.
It's going to be amazing to see how it all turns out
It
and
is.
how it
I
keeps
can.
unfolding for you. Because I know that He has not spared your life this many times for nothing. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that Anthony's life mattered. I know that you will do some great things in his memory.
Yes.
So I love you.
I love you.
Please let my viewers know how they can contact you.
You can contact me through my Instagram, which is back ends Riley.
We'll
And
have it printed at the bottom.
yeah, um,
And
yeah, through my Instagram. Also on TikTok. Not much on there,
okay,
but anyway,
okay,
TikTok. But I'll give you that information to link at the bottom for the
okay,
people, and Facebook as well.
okay. So we'll be looking forward to those new art pieces and
Yes.
also that book, that
Yes.
movie. It's like a
Yes.
movie. It's a movie.
Yes. It's giving movie.
It
But
is.
I really, really, I was supposed to forward you what I started writing.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do
Mm-hmm.
that. But yeah, it's interesting.
Thank
Still a
you,
lot to
Marlo
go.
Hager. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing today. Thank you for your yes. And I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.